Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad to hear this Wednesday morning. Got a big show lined up, a special guest here, all kind of information. But first, let's take a look at our weather. High today, 89, low 78, and the water temperature has been pretty steady at about 86 degrees. Our river readings by Mountain Dew, get out and do. I just didn't get out and do it because I don't have the river readings this morning, but they are in pretty good shape, and I promise you I'll have the river readings tomorrow as you get ready for this weekend's fishing. So the tide chart, now we do have that, brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. We're looking at a high tide this morning at 11:34, right in the middle of the day. Good strong tide, incoming all morning. It's going to sit there, it's going to start going out. It's going to start going out, be low tonight at 10:20. So we've got a good situation with tides, strong tides today, tomorrow, and on into the weekend. And our marine forecast, and I could have written it down, just say the same thing all summer long. West-southwest at 10 to 12. It'll be, you know about that. And like my guests were telling me, it's going to be that way about October. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and look who's here this morning. Stan Kirkland, as always.
Good morning.
It's always good to have you.
Always good to see you.
Ran by his house the other day, and he was sitting in the shade tree, and we just stopped and we just visited an hour and a half or two, just under the shade tree. It was hot, but we were in the shade.
Yeah, you and Gail were coming by, and Gail came out, and we sat and
just stand under the tree.
Yeah, there we go. But I think we've got the only pretty good sized shade tree left in our neighborhood, and I wished it wasn't necessarily in the front yard, but anyway, we enjoy it. We put a couple of chairs out there. My neighbors told me they're envious of us having that. But
yeah, you brought up a good point. If it's in the backyard, you could just fall asleep most of the time, but in the front yard, people are going to blow the horn at you.
Yeah.
But you're right about the shade trees. There's not a lot of them left.
I'm telling you, that storm did a number on it, and one good thing about Lynn Haven is they're I don't know if you know this, but they're giving trees away, and in fact, when you're gone, they'll not to everybody, but I guess they have some sort of program or criteria. But my daughter and son-in-law, they came in the other day and had a notice that, hey, would you like a tree? And the city came by and gave them a tree, and they got it planted in their yard. Maybe the city planted it, I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, they got a beautiful oak tree planted now in their yard. So,
awesome.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Doesn't it make you feel good because people, doing good things like that, and we all need to plant some trees. We were talking about it earlier, and just put some in the ground, and you don't look at them; they'll grow.
Yep, my mom in Jackson County, she lost about 25 trees, and so what we've done there is we've gone in and got the. We've got pecans. I called a company in Dothan and found out the best kind of pecans. And if you're going to sell pecans, I want to know what kind, know, they told me. So we bought, 6 or 7 pecans. And I went to Lowe's here and bought some pear trees. And
there you go.
And I learned something. They told me to get different varieties so that they will pollinate. If you get all the same kind, they won't pollinate. So I said, okay, great. So anyway.
We can sit here and talk about nature all day long, about those important things, and right, cross-pollination. All right, but you brought some pictures.
I brought something with me today. This photo that we got coming up is an exceptional deer killed by a young man in Jackson County. This deer was killed this past season by a young man. He goes by the name of Trent, but he's known as Charles Hill. Not to be confused with the Charles Hill that used to own the gas station there. But this young man, I guess, is maybe 30-ish.
Okay.
He killed an exceptional 14-point buck last season in Jackson County, and he didn't go into detail about where he killed it.
I bet.
But I went up and I scored his deer for the Florida Buck Registry. We've already got it submitted, and it actually scored 134 3/8. It had about, 15 inches of deductions roughly because of it's got 5 points on one side and 9 points on the other. But the gross score would have been probably in the 160s, but with the or high 150s, but with the deductions and everything, the net score is 134 3/8. It's one of the finest deer I've seen killed this past season.
That's a beautiful buck, and you're still a certified scorer. I mean, you do it every year.
Oh yeah, I've kept up my all the criteria that you have to do with Boone and Crockett and Pope and Young. Pope and Young actually sends us a test like every 5 years, and I have to scratch my head and go back through my book and look up how you score a musk ox, how you do a mountain lion, because I don't see stuff like that. But anyway, you have to, they let you use your book. But anyway, still, it's interesting. I love it.
One thing I found interesting when you and I first started talking about scoring, about how they have to sort of sit and dry out a while.
Yeah,
What's
60 days.
60 days.
Yeah, they have to, when somebody kills a deer, they've got to dry the antlers 60 days minimum before you can't take it green, in other words, right out of the field and go ahead and score it. So it's got to dry. And once it's in the hands, say you either make a skull cut and you set it up in a barn, or you take it to a taxidermist, that's fine. But you can't, green, can't do it when it's green.
What was the reason?
Because it shrink.
Well, the reason was just to give it time to sort of shrink down to what it's going to stay like.
Well, that's bone. And it's live bone.
Okay.
And in other words, there's still not blood going through the antlers, but what will happen is that that antler material will shrink. It's hard to believe, but it will shrink. Mm-hmm. I've never seen one yet that won't. If you score it, if you measure it green and then you measure it 3 or 4 months from now, the measurements will be less. But this young man, he could not have been any nicer, and so we've gone ahead and submitted.
That was a Jackson County buck?
Yeah, that was the Jackson County deer. He killed it with a shotgun. He did not kill it with a rifle. He actually killed it, so he had to get pretty close to it. And he told me he's killed several, and in fact, he and I are going to get together, and I'm going to score some other ones for him.
Well, you need to take you hunting with him.
Well, I don't want to horn in on his place, but anyway, he's a good sportsman, I can tell.
That's good. Hey, let's take our break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Sitting here with part of Panhandle Outdoors broadcasting team. Stan, but a lot of time, every now and then we like to do a show together.
Yeah,
and then when I get in the bind and head out of town, you and Ken are good about subbing for me, so we appreciate that. And but it's fun having you on.
Well, thank you.
We talked about hunting last segment. Let's go to fishing. You've always been a good wade fisherman, and that's been one of your passions.
I love to wade fish. In fact, when I first moved here back in 1978, I had a guy that take me under his wing. Everybody needs a mentor.
True.
And I had a guy who was younger than me, but he took me under his wing, and he actually started me wade fishing. Of all places, he started me wade fishing in East Bay. And we caught trout, redfish. One of the funniest things, though, the first thing I had to learn was I had cheap gear. I had I had some stuff that I don't want to pick a named outlet, but it was cheap.
We know what we're talking about.
It wasn't high quality stuff. And the first redfish I hung, it left me with just the guts of that reel in my hand, and I said, I got to do better than this.
That's funny.
So Al Hubbard, do you remember Al?
I do.
Al Hubbard laughed about it and said, Stan, you need a good reel. And Al helped me get a really nice reel and rod. In fact, I still have it today.
Oh, awesome.
I just, I don't use it anymore, but I still have it today, all these years later. But, going with somebody that taught you the importance of tides. You do the tides every day on the show. I'm telling you something, you can't imagine how important it is. The first thing when I think about fishing is, before I do anything else, well, one, if I can go, and number two is, is what are the tides doing? Because you want to fish an incoming tide or right after the tide changes. But that period where it's low, forget about it.
Yep.
The period where it's high tide for about an hour, your tide comes in, and if you look at a graph, it'll be, that graph, what it doesn't show you is you got about roughly an hour there that's dead. It's dead still. And you can forget about fishing. You can do anything. You can eat you a sandwich. You can do whatever you want. But when that tide starts to move again, for the first couple of 2 or 3 hours, you can fish. And so
that's great fishing advice right there. Exactly right. That's when you eat your sandwiches and
you can do whatever you want to do. But but the tide coming in, we went actually. I took my son-in-law this weekend, and we fished off of Tyndall, and we're wade fishing, and I look like a pot salesman. I got so much stuff hanging off of me. But I got a wading belt. I have a landing net and all of this.
You need all that stuff.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
Oh, you do. And I got a belt pack that that it's got a little bit of gear in it. And so anyway, but it works out good. We actually caught 4 redfish and released 2 of them. So he and I kept 1 redfish, and we caught a nice trout, and we actually quit just as the fish were beginning to bite good. But he and I both that sun was kind of tough, and we'd had enough. So.
Makes you want to go fishing right now, don't it, folks?
I'm telling you.
Listen, you mentioned Tyndall. I know you because you had a lot of experience out there and all, and then we got.
I love Tyndall.
You love Tyndall, and a lot of folks love Tyndall because it's a natural environment.
It is.
And I want to get your take and your feelings as you've been around outdoors your whole life. You made a career out of it. And you know about environment. So just tell me and be upfront and honest with our viewers about what you always have been, about your take on this Tyndall releasing.
Well, I can't fathom that Tyndall officials are, and I don't represent anybody, I'm retired, but I can't fathom that Tyndall is now considering leasing 3,000 acres for commercial development. They're talking about putting in condominiums, revitalizing the golf course, restaurants, or whatever. And I understand that supposedly the money, the tax money, will go back to Bay County. Phooey on all of that. That land, morally, Tyndall took that land when they created that base. They took that land from people and kicked them off the base. And when they remove those people, I'll give you an example. Hawk Masalina, I don't know if his descendants are still here, but Masalina Bayou gets its name from Hawk Masalina. He was part Indian, he was part black. But people, the descendants, need to be offered that land if Tyndall is going to develop it, because they're going to destroy that place, and they will never kick those people off that base.
Well, that's why, and I think the folks know how I feel too. I want to get as much feedback as I can from everyone, and like I say, Tyndall's welcome to come on the show and tell their view, but they want to lease it. Well, they want to lease it, but they're like a 100-year lease, and you're right. Once they get on there, they'll never come off.
If somebody spends tens of millions of dollars to create whatever it is, a restaurant or a condo, and then with that, you got to understand, it's not just the building that's going to be there. They're going to dredge they're going to tear up that bay and dredge.
We're going to look on the map right here. Here's Tyndall right here, okay? Yeah. Now, this is the far western end of Tyndall, right in the center of the screen. So that is some of the most precious grass beds and all.
Pristine grass beds.
Pristine. And scallops, the very few scallops we have, that's probably one of the top places to get scallops.
It is.
So you're saying that they'll end up dredging for docks?
Well, they will undoubtedly. If they put condos in there, people are going to demand that. And as politics goes, they're going to request a permit for dredge and fill. And I don't have to tell you what's going to happen. The skids will be greased, and they'll get whatever they want to do that. And it's an absolute shame. And I am so passionate about that. I absolutely hate to see Tyndall go this route, but they open this can of worms by wanting to do this. But they morally should offer this land back to the descendants that were kicked off that base.
And hopefully, though, they just leave it alone and let it be natural.
I agree.
What's wrong with a place being natural? What's wrong with that?
I agree.
Everything's developed all along the Florida Gulf Coast. We have development.
That's the only place really that's left that's not heavily developed.
Exactly.
That
right.
and St. Andrews State Park. And the park's small, but anyway.
And look what's right next to St. Andrews State Park, condo. And
Look on the boundaries of Tyndall. You've got Mexico Beach, and
boom, boom, boom,
God bless Mexico Beach. They're trying to come back after a lot, but all of that development is just coming
so
to
that
the
one
edge.
one little area there of Tyndall, and every time I drive through it, I thank God for that natural place every time.
I know.
And,
I agree.
And it's going to start shrinking if that's so. What we need to do and express your opinion and. Stan he didn't fall off the turnip truck when it comes to environmental stuff. You've seen it your whole life as far as.
Well, I know what'll happen.
You know what happens. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I appreciate your feedback on it, and we're going to stay on top of it as much as we can, but we're all going to do
I hope
what
you
we
do, Winston.
Okay, we're going to take a final break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Sitting here with our good friend Stan Kirkland, a former officer with the Fish and Wildlife Commission, now enjoying retirement, eventually sitting under the shade tree as much as he can. Let's look at our fishing game time today, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers. We're looking at 3:31 to 5:31 this morning, and this evening from 3:54 to 5:54. Now you brought something interesting too, so let's get into that.
Most people aren't going to have a clue what I'm holding in my hands, but this is actually a wing bone turkey call. This one is very crude. I'm not anyway finished with it, but for each wing of a wild turkey, a gobbler, there's 3 major bones in the wing. And if you cut it at the joint after you kill a bird legally, after you cut it, you can make a wing bone call. When it comes right out of the turkey, the bones are full of marrow. So you actually have to cook the bones.
Okay.
Most women are probably, or even some guys probably, are sticking their finger in the throat going, I'm not doing that. But you can actually cook the bones about an hour, and you use a little bit of Dawn detergent, a little bit of borax, and put it in water, and you boil it. And then when you get done, all of the marrow comes out of the bones. You have to cut the ends off the bones, and then then each bone, this bone goes into this one here, and I use a Dremel to get them hollowed out a little.
Okay.
And then I use a 2-part epoxy to seal it up.
Okay.
And so anyway, but this is the kind of call that they used to use over 100 years ago in this country. Now this one is finished, and I actually made this one. This one's got a piece of rawhide for going around your neck, and then you can actually carry it where you can hunt with it.
Okay.
In fact, there's one guy, a very popular guy on YouTube. He goes by the handle Catman, and I don't even know what his real name is, but he uses nothing but a wing bone turkey call to call.
Really?
And he killed 4 birds last year. He killed his limit in Tennessee just using this wing bone call. This call, and of course this one is finished, and I take thread and going around the joints. And of course, this is the end that you suck on right here to make the sound of a hen turkey. This call, I looked at it last week. Orvis has this very same call with a little presentation box, little box, for $295.
Whoa!
The same call. Now we're giving this one to the. I should have told Ken before I came on here, but I'm gonna give this one to the young man that actually killed the biggest turkey this year in our youth challenge.
Okay.
So I had told him that anyway, they know that there's something in the works.
That's cool.
But I'm gonna give that to him, and that he may never use it. But everybody's got a box where they, or a place where they keep mementos or stuff, and so anyway.
Well, you need to start making those commercially and selling them. People buy them. You'd have a waiting list of people.
I bet I could.
You would, seriously.
I bet I could. But I just got one more, and like I say, I'm going to make that one. But this one was from a nice turkey. My son-in-law killed his first bird this year, and so I'm probably going to do that one.
I already got it in my head. My head spinning. It'd be Kirkland Calls, and spell calls with a K instead of C. Kirkland's Calls.
There you go.
There you go. That sounds good.
All right, there we
That's
go.
awesome. Very, very
Well,
good. And good of you to present that as a gift. Now, let's get to flounder. I know you love to fish for flounder.
Yeah.
We got a couple minutes left. Let's talk about flounder.
Well, the FWC, and again, I'm retired, but FWC is looking at changing the flounder rules, and this has not been publicized. So, if you care about flounder fishing, you need to know what's going on. They're talking about, the proposal is right now is to change the bag limit from 10 fish, I think, down to 5, and then to up the size limit from 12 inches minimum up to 14. And so if you care, you need to correspond. The FWC is going to have a they don't call it a virtual town hall, but it's a virtual FWC meeting where you got to go online and log in, and I don't know how you comment if you don't send your written comments in yet. But anyway, they're going to have this in late July.
Okay.
And this will be like 2 or 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So I think it's 22nd or 23rd.
We'll try to stay on top of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I encourage people to do that because, you know, a lot of flounder in our area. We're probably having the best flounder season we've ever had. I just caught a couple of nice ones in your backyard. I shouldn't tell you this, but I went down to the Cape, and my son-in-law and I, we had a 19 and an 18-inch fish we caught right there near your place, waiting down there.
They're beautiful fish to catch and all, but why do you think we're having so many this year?
Well, I truly believe that flounder populations are cyclic, and that some years we just don't have as many. Other years we have a lot of fish.
Yeah, and it's a big cycle for them, just as our scallops in cycles and all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so they will be. I feel like they're going to change it from 10 to 5. So I think we're going to see that.
If people have an opinion, they need to correspond with the FWC.
And okay, we got to start wrapping things up. We've had a big show today.
Well, there's just some things, and
start out with big buck, turkey call, flounder, and then your opinion on tendrils. We got it all put in. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Winston. I appreciate you having me on the show today. Okay.
Thank you for coming on, folks. Thank you all for watching Panhandle Outdoors. We just try to bring you the very best we can each and every day. We try to bring our A game, and it's always great to have stand on. So many people respect and listen to you. So thank you.
Thank you, Winston.
Do something good today for your fellow man. You have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.